was so much sea spurge on the beach that pulling it out was a hands and knees exercise which took teams of 4 or 5 people 4 or 5 days to clean one beach. We can go back to those beaches now and deal with them in about 2 hours.
When we started, we had no background about bitter bush. We did research on it, but we didn't know where it came from or what it was doing there. We just knew that it had to be removed. There was so much bitter bush in Tathra. It was a monoculture at the southern end of the beach.
In those early years, we were finding, particularly beaches within Nadji Nature Reserve, had huge infestations of sea spurge, pulling up to 25,000 plants per beach, helicoptering those plants out.
We were at a tipping point at that stage that had the project not commenced and the work not commenced, we would have had much greater infestations, which possibly could not have been controlled now 10 years on. They would have just got too far out of hand.
We don't find very much bitter bush now, so when we go through the last one at the end of October, we came up with 16 plants.
I think Bega Valley Shire has got about 1/7 of the state's coastline, and it's in a beautiful condition. Twice a year for 6 to 7 weeks, Stuart is the project officer working with the 3 Aboriginal land councils, with those guys working on country. Their office is the beaches on the far south coast.
We go out normally looking for sea spurge or bitter bushes, and we mostly look for polygara and stuff like that as well, a few other weeds.
Last week I was in Marimbula and I had a lady and a man come up and they asked me what I was doing, and I told him I was picking up the rubbish along the beach and keeping the beaches clean, and he said it was a good job that we're doing and we should be proud of ourselves because we've got one of the best looking coasts on the side of the East Coast.
Bitu can seem quite attractive with its massive yellow plants, have the capacity to displace virtually all native vegetation. But there are others, such as sea spurge, which was an accidental introduction, I believe, in ballast, in ship's ballast. The value of biodiversity in this or any environment is, I would say, primarily a question of resilience. So that if you have, the more species that you have that are present, the more chance that if there is some major adverse impact on that environment, that some of them will survive and thrive and the ecosystem will be put back together again.
A good example will be the last East Coast low we had, where we had a lot of beach erosion. In some areas where you saw a big inundation of like beach daisy, which have been eroded, that sand is actually gone because that daisy could not hold that together as much as some of our acacia species and spinifex.
There were huge areas that became devegetated along our coast. Had we not controlled the weed species that have the best opportunity to take advantage of this, we would have just had a massive take-off of weed species along the coast, because the 10 years of the project have massively depleted the weed seed bank.
This program has now grown into a beautiful example of when you can glue together the passion of community people and local and state government agencies. Those community groups can change from just weeding to then start doing some strategic re-veg on the coastal dunes.
This project is very much akin to gardening, or to farming. There is a need for this ongoing surveillance. It doesn't need to be as intense as it had to be in the early years, but it does need to be ongoing.
We remove humans and the work that the Coastal Weeds group is doing, and we'll be knee-deep in sea spurge, bitu and bone seed in a couple of years.
It's a blueprint for what could be rolled out further afield in terms of weed control. In being involved in this group, which not only still looks at Nadji but looks at the entire coast and involves everyone on a tenure neutral basis, has really helped to get sea spurge and other species, down to a management level.
Nature needs us humans to be interacting with it in a positive way, and that's what the Coastal Weeds project is doing here along the coast.
Yeah, it is a bit of pride. I'll get back to go back and tell my young fellas, you know, and when they get older they most probably do the same thing. So it is a good thing and feel pride about doing as well for my people and for the community who I'm working for. So.